Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of marketing advice? It's all go viral this and build a personal brand of that.
Right.
But what does it actually take to cut through the noise and build something meaningful, that lasts?
That's what we're tackling in this deep dive. You sent over some really insightful articles,
Yeah,
especially that one by Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, the guy practically wrote the book on modern marketing.
you really did.
And today we're zeroing in on his concept of pebble branding.
Yeah. What's fascinating about this idea is how Vaynerchuk challenges that old way of thinking. For years, it was all about reaching the widest possible audience. Those broad demographics we used to hear about, like you were just trying to win over an entire generation with a catchy jingle. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like this car is for everyone born between 1980 and 1995. But Vaynerchuk argues that those days are long gone.
Right. Exactly. The internet just shattered that model completely. Think about it. You probably see ads now for things so specific to your interests that it's almost eerie.
It's true.
That's Vaynerchuk's pebble idea in action.
Okay, so instead of trying to be this big generic boulder that everyone kind of sees but no one really connects with, you need to be a highly targeted pebble that resonates deeply with a specific group.
Yeah.
But how do you even find those pebbles in the first place?
Yeah.
It's not like there's a map to your ideal audience.
Right, and that's where Vaynerchuk's day trading for attention comes in. He argues that you need to be constantly scanning the landscape, looking for those pockets of underpriced attention where you can connect with the right people.
So underpriced attention. Is he talking about like a new social media platform before it gets super crowded?
Yeah.
Or maybe a niche online community that's
Yeah.
like totally underserved? Give me some examples.
You got it. Think about TikTok a few years ago.
Okay.
Brands that were early to recognize its potential and tailor their content for that audience were able to achieve massive organic reach at a fraction of the cost of more established platforms.
It's like finding a hidden gem before everyone else catches on.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes total sense. But day trading,
Right.
it makes it sound so intense. Vaynerchuk, he doesn't mince words, does he? But I think he's onto something, right?
Yeah.
If you're clinging to those outdated marketing playbooks, you're going to get left in the dust.
100%. Yeah. This isn't set it and forget it anymore. Vaynerchuk, he really emphasizes that day trading means constant adaptation, Like he actually suggests treating new platforms kind of like undervalued stocks.
Oh, interesting.
Get in early, experiment, see what kind of returns you get before everybody else crowds the market.
Okay, so you're not just looking for any pebble. You're looking for the shiniest pebble. I'm starting to see how this works, but how does that translate into like actual marketing strategies?
It's about being agile. Like, don't throw your entire budget at one strategy or platform.
Right.
Test different approaches, analyze the data, be willing to pivot if something isn't working.
Yeah.
And remember, just because something was effective yesterday doesn't mean it's guaranteed to work today.
He did have that great line, the biggest misstep. They're obsessed with yesterday, but they're missing the mark today. But it's a bit daunting, though. Like, how do you even keep up with all the changes?
It's definitely a challenge, and that's where self-awareness comes in. Vaynerchuk's a big believer in really understanding your brand's strengths, your audience's interests, and finding that sweet spot where the two intersect.
So it's not just about chasing trends blindly. It's about figuring out which trends actually make sense for your brand and your audience. But isn't that where things could get, I don't know, inauthentic? Like you're forcing a connection that isn't really there.
It's a valid concern, and I think Vaynerchuk would agree that authenticity is paramount.
Yeah.
He's not advocating for being someone you're not. It's about finding those genuine points of connection and amplifying them.
So you find your pebbles, you figure out how to connect with them authentically. And then what? What does success look like in this pebble branding world? It still feels like we're trading a massive audience for, like a handful of pebbles.
Right.
I have to imagine success looks different in this pebble branding world.
It does. It's not about chasing those vanity metrics anymore.
Right.
It's about building communities, not just racking up followers.
Right.
A smaller, highly engaged audience that truly resonates with your brand is far more valuable than a massive, indifferent following,
So it's quality over quantity. Instead of just broadcasting your message far and wide, you're having more meaningful conversations with the right people, which honestly sounds a lot more sustainable in the long run.
Exactly. And it plays into that human need for connection. People want to feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah.
And when you can tap into that through your brand, You create this powerful sense of loyalty and advocacy that you just don't get with a more generic approach.
He did say people need to recognize how big the stakes are, because the ones who don't know how to day trade attention will continue to lose market share.
Yeah.
But what you're describing feels much less transactional, which I like.
It is, and that's the beauty of Vaynerchuk's approach, right? It's not about manipulating people.
Yeah.
It's about finding those genuine points of connection and building those authentic relationships. It's about creating something that people actually want to be a part of.
Which ultimately is what good marketing should be all about, right?
Yeah.
Connecting with people, building trust, and creating something meaningful. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the big takeaway is this. In a world obsessed with going viral, remember the power of those small, meaningful connections. Find your pebbles, nurture those relationships, and watch your impact grow organically from there.
Well said. Don't underestimate the power of a pebble, especially when it's part of a much larger, more vibrant mosaic.